I'm Matt Skinner, wine writer, wine judge, consultant and Plumm ambassador, and we're here in downtown sunny Melbourne and we're on the way to my office. So welcome to my world. This is where I do my day-to-day. So that involves lots of tasting. So every Monday we're in here and we're tasting around about 100 wines or thereabouts. And that sort of fuels the basis of what makes up my column. So for Sunday Life, in The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald, for BBC Good Food magazine, for Gourmet Traveller Wine, and for Home Beautiful. I consult to a couple of different restaurant groups, most importantly the Van Handel Group here in Melbourne. We have Stokehouse, Cutler & Co, Com, Ladro, a couple of cafes as well. Might be biased, but I think if you took a little bit of Paris' style, New York sophistication, I think if you took a little bit of Barcelona's kind of artistic flair and you sort of combined that all in a city, say the size of San Francisco, you'd work with an independence all of its own. You'd end up with something like Melbourne. I remember growing up at school in the 80s, and sort of we'd sit around in the schoolyard and every kid's lunchbox was different. You know, you'd have kids that had like Vegemite sandwiches and a piece of fruit. You'd have other kids that were sort of having, you know, prosciutto and a wedge of Parmesan cheese, and other kids having moussaka. The thing that made this city special was its people. And I think that's played an enormous part in its development as one of the world's preeminent food and wine destinations. You know, I guess in my 17 years in wine, I've spent half that time in retail, so I've sold a lot of wine-specific glassware. I've spent the other half of that time as a sommelier, working in different restaurants around the world, and I've broken my fair share of it as well. So I probably know a fair bit about it. I certainly know the importance of a decent glass, you know, and the impact that that will make on wine. You know, I was amazed that when I did get the brief from Plumm that, you know, there was only 5 shapes in the range, which was genius. There wasn't, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different shapes. They were manufactured 3 different ways, so easy to understand. And most importantly, I didn't need to have been to university in order to understand how they work. And I love the fact that it was something that was born out of Melbourne. You know, this was an idea put together by a team in Melbourne. It was all about simplicity, practicality, and affordability. That was it. And you know, I spend my life talking to people about wine and communicating all things wine, and one thing I always urge people to do is to get themselves a decent set of glasses, because that makes all the difference to the experience, and that's what these do.